Hello friends, welcome to our channel Exploring Things Around and our course Learn C Programming A to Z. So earlier we learned about decision control statement. We implemented that with the help of if else, and we also learned about switch statements. So today in our course we'll create calculator utility with the help of these two statements which we learned in our earlier course. So let's get into Dev C++ and we'll create a new program. So we'll try to create same utility with the help of if else and with the help of switch case statement. So let's create first with the if else structure. So hash include studio dot h void main. So what all we need for a calculator, we need two numbers input and we need to define the operator plus minus into or divide division. So let's create a variable for that. So we'll have two integer number, let's say number 1 and number 2, and we'll have one character variable to store the operator symbol which user is saying. If it enters plus, we'll do a add operation. If it enters minus, we'll do subtraction operations accordingly. So we'll have one char input for that. So give a let's comment it here. Say enter. So this will help some other developers, so you should always practice putting comment. So enter opr as plus for add, minus for subtraction, into for multiplication, and we are expecting user to give backslash for division. So let's ask user input for these numbers. So let's say printf will say enter first number. Let's keep, so see here, you need to make pcap small. Since we know C is case sensitive, make sure you are not using wrong case for keywords or function names or any variable name. Next we need to call scanf function. Since it is a integer, use percentage d comma ampersand number 1. So far we have got our first number. Let's repeat it to get second number. Please enter second number, and this time we will use variable 2, and let's repeat it to ask user operator type. Enter operation type. Let's say enter operation type. So he will enter plus minus multiplication symbol division accordingly, and we'll store this in opr variable. From here our if else structure will start. So if opr is equal to plus, we need to return the output also. So let's create a variable for that, integer output. So if it is plus, so output, in that case your output will be a plus number 1 plus number 2. So number 1 plus number 2. This is the activity you need to perform. Let's print this value. Printf result is, let's say result is percentage d, and here we'll say output will map output variable. Else again we need to validate the operator type. Else if, so this will use else if clause. So else if opr equal to minus. So since this is character, so don't forget to use single quote. So if this is So let's copy paste these lines. So if this is minus, so in that case output will be number 1 minus number 2, else again else if OPR equal to star, then let's copy paste it. It will be number 1 into number 2. So you can extend it to up to any number. It is not about just for two numbers. How many operands you want to use, that is up to you. And last, so this time we don't need to use if else if. So this will be your else statement. Else this is understood. Last operand available is division only. So we'll use divided by number 1 divided by number 2. So this way your else if structure will work. Another thing to notice here, so let's save it as uh, calculator. We are using with if, so let's say calculator if else, so that we know we implemented it with if else. Save it. Another thing, since we are using two statements after if, so don't forget to put them in braces, otherwise only first statement will get attached to that one. Similarly here, similarly here, and here as well. Another thing to know, indentation is not mandatory in C programming. In some programming, if you don't follow the particular indentation, you will get error. But in C, it is not like that. As per your look and feel, you can indent your code, but it will not give error for indentation. There are programming languages like Python, which will give you error if you don't follow a particular indent. Okay, so our code is ready now. So if you see here, we have all the four conditions available. So we are first checking if it is plus symbol. If we are enter plus, then we are doing add. If it is minus symbol, we are doing minus. Accordingly, we are performing all this activity. But so let's save it for now. Let's compile it and see if it is working fine or not. So no error. Let's run it. Okay, so enter first number. Let's say 4. Enter second number. Let's say 5. Enter operation type. I am entering plus. So you see here, it is saying result is 0. So I entered plus. Okay, so I get it now why it happened. uh, we have taken char input here, but we forgot to change the format specifier. So these are the common mistakes which we do. So it's good we are getting here itself, so that it will be in our mind. So let's compile it again. No error, no warning, and let's run it. So this time it should work fine. So first number, let's say again 4, second number say 7, operator type plus. So you see result is 11. It is working fine. But one thing here, from the developer side, if you see, you could have optimized your code little bit. Here you are using printf statement 4 times, whereas the value you are calculating only once. Printing activity you could have done in last. So it will according to the symbol, according to the operator type, it will do the calculation. It will store the value in the output variable, and once it comes out of this if-else structure, it will simply print that output. So you could have saved number of lines if you would have used that structure. Even this braces also would not have required, because you are using only single statement just after each if or else statement, right? So these things also you need to learn as you start getting into programming. So this is called your code optimization, trying to achieve same thing with the less number of codes. So if you see here, whatever we wrote earlier with around 10-15 lines, now we have included everything in just earlier whatever we wrote with around like 20 lines, now everything is here in just 8-9 lines. So if you save it and run it, this will also work in the same way, because we are storing ultimately the value in output variable, and in last, once it comes out of this if else condition, it will simply print whatever we have in the output. But again, this will have some drawbacks. Suppose if user has not entered any valid values, you could have thrown an error rather than showing result is output. So let me show you that. So these all things will come once you start creating some utility, some software. You have to perform all kind of positive and negative testing, and you'll accordingly you have to modify your code. So let me show you it in both way, in positive testing and negative testing. So enter first number 4, enter second number 6, operator type plus, so you are getting output, that is fine, no issue. But let me show you with different test case. So, so let me run. So I'll enter 4 number 5 and operator type, in operator type giving uh, a small bracket. So you see result is 0. It rather than 0, it should have given me error like please provide a valid operator type, please provide a valid input. Rather than saying result is 0, if it tells me you have not entered a correct value, please retry, that would be more meaningful for me. So there you can use your loop statements, whatever we learned earlier. So you can use loop, while loop, do for loop, do while, any as per your convenient you can use that. And unless until user is not giving any valid value, plus out of this plus, minus, into and division, don't proceed further, or else ask him to exit the program. Else give him on the prompt, these are the following four valid characters. So similarly we have written here on the screen, right, comment for the developer, same comment you can give for the user. And if he is not entering any of these values, rather than saying result is 0, if you give output to him not a valid character, that will make more sense. Similarly, same thing we can do here also with the help of our if else. So let's see how we can do. Here you can add one more if condition, OPR equal to division, and you can add one more else condition and say in output. So here you can say in printf not a valid operator type. This thing you can say here itself. So let's see how to look. Let's use /n. So whenever you create a utility, whenever you try to create a software, you have to do rigorous testing. For that, you have to cover all the scenarios which user may encounter. Then your utility will be complete. So I'm entering 4 again, 3 here, and I'm using less than symbol. So you see now you are giving a error, not a valid operator type, result is 0. That also makes sense. You could have extended this statement, please enter one of, so it is up to 1 up, plus, minus, star, or this. So that will also give more meaningful output to user. But this is how you need to handle. Another thing where your program may fail is in case of division. So if the user is entering number 2 as 0 and he is using uh, divide operation, so this will fail, output will be some number divided by 0, which should not be the case. So if the number 2 is 0, you should not execute this case. So here you can add additional condition if, so inside this else if, you can put this whole statement into the braces, since we'll be using number of statement here. So if, here you can say if number 2 is equal to 0, right, printf give an error, number 2 cannot be 0. Else, if that is the else, in case of else, you calculate the output. So these all scenario you have to take care if you are creating a software. So let's test now for division. Okay, so some error came here. If number is, so this is closed here. Okay, so you have missed semicolon. If you see here also, it is saying expected semicolon before else. So because of that you got compilation error. Okay, now no error. Let's run it. So these are the things when we start creating any utility or any software, we tend to forget. But if you do number of testing, you will not miss these cases. I'm entering number 2 as 0, operator type divide. You see error number 2 cannot be 0. So here still it is coming result is 0 because of this statement. Again, you can handle that with some more if else conditions. So, but this is how you can create your calculator utility. Let's try to implement same thing with the help of switch case. Let's create a new source file. Let me name it as, again, calculator, and rather than if else I'll say switch. So we are trying to implement it with the help of switch statement. So again it will start with the hash include. So up to input part it will be same. So let me copy paste from here. So till this part it will be same. We are taking just input from the user. Okay, so once we have got the input in our operator, so we can use switch statement to evaluate what user has entered. So here we will be looking for the OPR value, right? And accordingly we will have case statement. So case, first case will be plus. So if plus is entered, your output will be equal to number 1 plus number 2. Don't forget to use break statement, otherwise it will execute your next case is attached to next case statement. If it is minus, say output equal to number 1 minus number 2, case 3. Case 3 is your multiplication, so you look for star symbol, and if this is the case, output will be equal to number 1 into number 3, and case, your next case will be division, and here output will be equal to number 1 divided by number 2. Let's use break statement after each of this case statement, and like we had final else statement in our if else ladder, we'll have default here, and this will say and error, enter a valid operator symbol. It can be only plus, minus, star, or division. So let's put that in error. Okay, otherwise finally, okay, so this closing brace was for the main function, and out of this, once it comes out of this switch structure, we'll print result is percentage %d, and here we'll map our output variable. So if you see here, it is somewhat more or less like your if else ladder, only the way we are writing code, the way we are testing, that is different. So this each case will be like your if else clause there, else if clause there. Default is like your final else. Okay, so it is somewhat like that only, but as we learned in our earlier session, so there are few limitations between if else and switch case. So there are few differences, and accordingly you can decide if you want to use switch statement or if else statement for the particular requirement. So it is done now. Okay, and another thing, don't use semicolon here, otherwise it you will not be getting the required output. This will fail. So let me compile it like we had. So okay, so there's a typing mistake. So like in case of our if else statement, if you use semicolon just after if here, so this statement gets treated as independently. So same kind of behavior you may see here as well. So be careful with the syntax. You need to use a colon here. Don't forget to use break keyword. All those things are very important. So let's compile it again. Again there is some error. Okay, so this was number 2. I had written number 3. Let's compile it again. There's one more error. This is for again typing mistake. This is output. So now we should not be seeing any more error. There's one more. Okay, so finally semicolon. So all the errors are resolved. Let's compile. No error, no warning, and let's see. Let's run it now. Enter the first number, let's say 6. Enter the second number, let's say 3. Let's use star multiplication. Okay, so 6 3 is 18. So you are getting the correct output. Let's validate it with more scenarios. Enter 4. Let's use number 6. Let's use minus symbol. Okay, result is -2. So that is also working. So one thing you notice, every time it is running just for one time. If you need to test it with again value, if you need to calculate for some other value, you need to do a calculation for some other value, you have to run it again. So these kind of scenarios you can handle with the help of loop. So you can refer my other videos, like we created interest calculated, and I have put the same thing, interest calculation operation, inside the loop, so that it will prompt you if you want to calculate again or not. So let's see here 4 5, and I'm entering some other value apart from plus minus. Okay, so you see error here, enter valid operator symbol. It can be only plus minus, so it is working fine, but only thing, it is working just for one time. So if you want to perform this activity again and again with different number 1, number 2 and operator type, you just need to put all these things inside a loop and put a prompt in last if you want to continue or if you want to exit. So till the time you get response from user that he wants to continue, you keep doing the performation. You keep doing, you keep doing the you keep doing the calculation. So hope you like this video. R- do watch my video on the loop, so you will learn more about how you can make your calculator more user friendly and user does not have to run it again and again. So as I said earlier, you can use this calculator from this path. You see the exe path is generated. So let me go to that path. Let me close all these exe. Mm. So if you see here also, this was calculator switch, right? So you can directly run this exe file from here. So 2 4, let me use plus. So only thing is it will be just for one time, and another thing, it got closed, right? So earlier I have told you, so that drawback you will not notice if you are running from dev C++, because it opens its own console and keeps that open until you click on any other button. But if you run directly, you can use one extra symbol, get ch. So this will hold your screen until you press any button. So you compiled it, so no error. So your exe file got refreshed now. So let's run that again. So this time your screen will not go away after the result calculation. 4 2 minus You see result is 2, and you can see screen is still on hold just because you have used getCS function. So it will keep your screen on hold. You see the cursor here, that is because user need to enter some value. So once you press any button on the keyboard, your screen will go away. So I'm going to enter. Okay, so you see screen went away. So this is how you can create some utilities with the help of C. So I hope you liked our videos. So don't forget to subscribe our channel, share it with your friends. If you have any doubt, if you need any clarification, feel free to put that in comment box. Thank you. Thanks for watching.